Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about what appears to be the upcoming news, V-Jump news for Legends. We have some Dokkan stuff up here, and we have some Legend stuff down here. There's two main points really to talk about right here. This website is basically people who have been able to access the V-Jump issue early and are posting the info basically on the site. It's basically like a blog site. Most of the time we get the early leaks posted here, and then the V-Jump page will be leaked a few days after this. So it looks like for Legends we will be getting a Gotenks. It seems a bit like a base form Gotenks who transforms into Super Saiyan 3 with his main ability. So that's interesting because Fusions can use the help for sure. I hope that he is a support unit because that's what Fusions needs the most right now. But we'll see. The current yellow Gotenks is really not the best, so that's a good upgrade for the team. Same thing with hybrids, because hybrids really need help as well. So fulfilling two teams that really could benefit a lot from that, the tags that this guy has, right? So that's good. Okay, the main point of this video is to talk about this. So what this says is Final Form Cooler ZENKAI Awakening is coming soon. There are only two Final Form Coolers in the game. We'd go ahead and take a look at the Lineage of Evil tag. There is this purple one, who is not getting a ZENKAI Awakening because that would break the game. And there's this one, the blue one. I've talked about in previous videos how I think, how I thought this guy might be a contender for ZENKAI Awakening. And then I also mentioned the possibility of this Chilled being another contender for it. But then we got the LF Frieza, who was purple, and then I think after that, I was kind of like, I don't really think Chilled's going to be the main target anymore, and I think Cooler might be the one that's coming up soon, and lo and behold, looks like Cooler is going to be the next ZENKAI unit coming to the game, and I will have a ZENKAI 7 showcase for him the day it comes out. So, be on the lookout for that whenever that drops. I'll probably do a ZENKAI 1 showcase and a 7 showcase in the same day, just so that you guys are able to, I guess, judge him on both fronts, because most people are probably just going to get him to ZENKAI 1, even if you're able to do that, because I feel like a lot of people probably haven't pulled this guy. He hasn't been on that many banners at all. I think the one that stands out to me is the Namek Goku Step Up banner. I think he was on that one along with Full Power Frieza. I don't remember 100%, but I think he was on there. I think I pulled a lot of him on there. But he really has not been on that many banners recently, so he's in a similar boat to the purple Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, who also wasn't on a lot of banners, right? So what I'm going to be doing in this video is we're going to be talking about what I think this guy's ZENKAI Awakening could look like. It's obviously impossible to really predict with any sort of accuracy the ZENKAI Awakening, because it could literally be anything, right? But I think the way that I'm going to set this up is I have actually two unique abilities that I have written down that I think could benefit this guy a lot, and then also just general upgrades to his existing kit, like main ability, his two uniques that he already has, etc. So, pretty much, let's talk about the tag first. I think, because this guy's obviously only on Lineage and not on Frieza Force, I think Frieza Force at this point is generally just a better team than Lineage. And that's mainly due to the fact that they have way more options available to them. We take a look at the Frieza Force tag. I mean, they have the entire Ginyu Force is on here. That's a huge deal because a lot of the Ginyu Force members are really powerful. Even this Goldo, I mean, we could take a look at his main ability. His main ability is what makes him really good. Go down here. It's health. So at 14 stars, he's giving 22% health to the Frieza Force tag. That's crazy. And then you also have somebody like the LF Frieza is on here, obviously. You have Raccoon, who's like unkillable. You have Full Power Frieza, who's giving both defenses. So I think overall this team is just very tanky, and I think that's the way you want to build this team. I mean, even the new Broly, if you want to go with a more offensive-based lineup, you can go with the Broly there as well. You can even do some shenanigans where you throw like Chilled on the bench, Goldo on the bench, and Raccoon on the bench, and you run like this Frieza, the LF Frieza, and then this Frieza, and like they're all getting so much health and defense that they're literally like almost unkillable. So that's one option. I don't know, it just feels like this tag needs a little bit more help than the Frieza Force does, because the Frieza Force is always going to have more units than the Evil tag. Just the nature of how the tag is set up, right? There's just more opportunities for characters to be included on the Frieza Force tag. So I think the way they are going to design the Blue Cooler ZENKAI Awakening is based around him pairing alongside the LF Frieza. The LF Frieza is pretty much the centerpiece of this entire team. Same thing with the Frieza Force team as well. I mean, every team that this guy's on, he's like the main unit you want to build the team around. He's the best supporting unit in the game. Him and I think the next best one is probably the blue Saiyan Saga Goku, the Feet Coup, whatever people call him. But this guy's doing so much for the team. 50% to key recovery for all allies. That's literally it's like one of the best abilities in the entire game. And then also 25% damage, just for breathing, just for being alive. And then he also does give key, right? He gives 30 key to the rest of the team as long as they're Frieza Force or Lineage of Evil. So these, again, you run this guy on the Frieza Force Lineage team, and this guy is just like the best unit. So that's what I think they're going to base this cooler around, on running him alongside this guy. So you have a blue and a purple, and then that leaves a third spot on there where you might want to consider running a blue-blue-purple setup, because obviously the purple negates the weakness to green. We haven't really seen any viable blue-blue-purples in a long time, like those setups. So you can run this guy. You might want to, like, I don't know, throw on this Pod Frieza on there as well, and then you can run this guy, and then that's your team. It's one option, right? I mean, it depends what they do with this guy's kit. We don't know yet. And to be honest, I mean, I saw a lot of people were surprised to see that this guy's getting a Zenkai Awakening, and yeah, he isn't nearly as bad as some other units who could have received Zenkai Awakenings. And we go ahead and take a look at the characters real fast. We'll scroll all the way down. I mean, there's way worse units that could have gotten it. Like this yellow Gohan really needs one. Android 18 really needs one. Super Trunks really needs one. Where's the this Trunks is like, he's dead. He doesn't exist anymore. Icy Goku, he can be super annoying, but I think he needs one as well. Android 16, I would say definitely needs one. I mean, there's a lot of characters who need a Zenkai Awakening, I think, prior to this cooler, but again, I am not going to complain because I'm happy about that. I'm happy about this tag getting buffed. It's fine with me. And in total, I think there are not that many gaps in this team's kit right now. But there are a few things that I can nitpick at, I guess, if you want to be very, very technical about it, like lack of healing. There really isn't that much healing going on with this team. The only healing I can think of is if you want to run Metal Cooler, which nobody would run because he's not the best unit ever, but he does have a team-wide heal. And then the other heal is this guy when he transforms, which is okay, and his green card as well. And then the LF Frieza does heal every time he switches out, which is very significant. That makes him insanely good. That combined with his, I believe it's 35% damage reduction after the first time he switches out. Yeah, that's pretty good. But I think in terms of like being able to heal up allies, there really isn't that ability on here. There's no switch locking at all going on here, which is, I think, if you take a look at like the top teams in the game, a lot of them do abuse switch locking. You take a look at movies. I mean, the yellow Gohan obviously stands out. Take a look at Regen. Boo, Zenkai Boo is going to lock you in for, I think, what is it, like 5 counts every time he switches in. That makes a huge difference, and I think that's one of the reasons that why those teams are so good is because that ability. It's you can't play around it. It's like the only ability in the game where you have to just eat whatever they're going to do because you can't play around it. It's just impossible. So stuff like that, I feel like this team's lacking on. But other than that, there really aren't that many gaps in this team's like repertoire, I would say. But let's go ahead and take a look at the blue cooler. Where is he? I have him pulled up somewhere. Here he is. I have him at, well, I think currently I have him at 12 stars, but I'm gonna definitely get him to 14 before I do my showcase, whenever, because they're gonna put out a banner with this guy on it, right? So I'll get him to 14 before the video. So his stats, I have Super Saiyan 4 Goku pulled up here as a reference. Oh, by the way, people have asked me like, oh, why do you always have Super Saiyan 4 Goku pulled up? And it's like, he's a pretty well-rounded character in terms of stats. So I think this is a pretty good, I guess, medium to judge units off of. You can just compare their stats directly to this guy, and I feel like that's a pretty good metric to base your stats off of. So like, for example, Cooler, his strike damage is 238,000. Compared to Super Saiyan 4 Goku, it's not even that much less, so that's pretty good. He actually does have more blast damage, 220,000 versus 215. This Cooler's blast damage for being a melee unit is actually not bad. The place where this guy struggles the most is his defenses. At 14 stars, he has 145 and 146,000 defense. The Goku has 158 and 159. It's like not even in the same stratosphere. This guy's defenses are like almost non-existent. Now, obviously, that's going to change when you get Zenkai. All his stats are going to go up, and then even furthermore when he gets soul boosted. If you Zenkai 7 him, I will Zenkai 7 him. So I assume even if they did not like give him any uniques that buff his defense, he's going to have pretty good defense just through the increased stats that he's getting from the Zenkai Awakening. So I don't know what they're going to do with that, but we'll see. So let's just go through what he has right now, and then we can talk about the 2 uniques that I just concocted in my head. Main ability, I'm the strongest in the universe, draw the Ultimate Earth card, Atomic Supernova next, and that is it. Nowadays, units are doing like 400,000 other things along with drawing an Ultimate Arts card. Take a look at Goku again. Draw the Ultimate Arts card, and then he restores one ki by 50, which is a lot. And he also gets 25% damage inflicted for 20 timer counts. So this guy definitely needs to pick up something. I think a heal is pretty safe. Maybe like a 20% heal. That's really it. Maybe 20 to 30%. I don't know if they're going to give him more than 20. 20 is fine. And then maybe also some kind of key on this, because I think at least 20 key is good. So maybe like in addition to what he's doing already, he's just drawing a card. Maybe give him 20% health restoration, or 20% to HP, so he gets 20% health back on using this. And then he also gets 20 key. I think that's fair. It's not overpowered. All that's doing is that, let's say you're at like, you just finished a combo and you're at like 2 key, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 key, somewhere in the single digits. If you use his main ability, that's going to let you just use the ultimate. So that's good. I mean, that's all you really need, right? You're not. I don't want to see this guy getting like 80 key back on main ability, and then he can just go into a full combo after that. I don't want that to happen. So I think that's fine for his main ability. First unique is Call of Evil. Here is where we start to see where this guy really isn't the worst. When this character enters the battlefield, the following effects occur if a tag Lineage of Evil other than this character is a battle member. 40% of damage inflicted, -5 to own strike and blast arts costs, and then plus 25% to own key recovery. This is really not a bad unique at all. It's actually quite good. The only thing I would say, I feel like if they were going to buff this, you maybe bump this up to 50, because that's the standard these days. It's not 40 anymore, it's now 50. This -5 to own strike or blast arts cost, I feel like you don't change this. I think this is fine. If you get him to Zenkai 7, you're looking at, because he's going to have the level 10 on the strike, right? He's going to have 18, he's going to already be down at 13 cost strike cards, and his blasts are going to be 28, 23. So 13 and 23 is really good. I would say the maximum they would ever buff this to is maybe -7, so that this goes down to 11, and this goes down to 21. I think they leave this at 5. I think moving it any more than that is going to be, it's going to be very powerful. And then the key recovery, I think you just buff this to maybe like 35%. Anything higher than that is too much, I think. So in total, I think this is probably going to bump up to 50%. This will stay the same, or this will stay the same. And then this will go up to maybe like 35. That's it. I think everything else is going to stay the same. So this is going to get minimal buffs here. Now the next unique ability is where I feel like people, this is the reason, this unique ability right here is the reason why he can still be ran today and be fine. Well, fine, quote unquote. Applies the following effects to allied tag Lineage of Evil when this character is switched to standby. Plus 35% of damage inflicted for 15 timer counts, and then plus 30% to critical rate for 15 timer counts. 35% is massive. I mean, take a look at the first form Frieza. He's only giving 25%. So he's giving 10% more than the LF Frieza is to Lineage of Evil. That's pretty nuts. And then the critical rate, I feel like it's noticeable, but it's not really the biggest deal ever. The only reason why Bardock's feels so oppressive is because he gives critical damage as well as critical rate. So that's like a double whammy. It's the same way Hit's kit is built. He does critical rate to himself and critical damage, so the crits feel way more powerful. I think I was actually thinking about how they could even change this. I was initially thinking, oh, what if he gives card draw speed to allies? That's let me just tell you right off the bat, that's not happening. That would be way too good. The only thing I could possibly see them doing is maybe adding key to allies. Maybe like 20 key. That's it. So the numbers here would stay the same, except maybe they could buff the crit to maybe like 40%, because again, I don't think crit is as powerful as people are thinking. Crit without critical damage, right? Just the crit by itself. Maybe they could buff that to 40%, and then maybe they could do like grants Lineage of Evil allies key, like 20 key on switch out. That's all I could see. Anything more than that I think is too much. So again, I don't think this unique is going to change all that much. Again, these uniques are both very good. So in terms of them changing drastically, I don't think that's going to happen. Let me go ahead and take a look at his special move. This is where I think they can start adding some stuff that would make him unique in the Lineage of Evil tag. So Supernova deals major explode damage, reduces enemy ki by 30, and then cannot be nullified by most other special moves. So this is the thing where, like, if you and your opponent use a special move at the same time, this usually wins out, or overrides their special move, right? So I think what they can do, because I don't want to give this guy a lock, a switch lock, like traditionally how it's worked, like green Bardock, red Vegito, yellow Gohan. I don't like that version of locking. I think it's too oppressive. There's no counterplay to it, and people are just like, it's not fun to play against. So I don't want to see that kind of lock. I think the way locks should work is the way that this guy's lock works. Super Saiyan 4 Goku. You go down here to what he does. So when he uses a special move, he inflicts all allies with no all enemies with no switching for 3 timer counts upon activation. I think that's exactly what they can do to Cooler. They don't need to buff this at all. I mean, they could give it massive damage. I don't think it's necessary. I think major is fine. Keep this, reduces enemy ki by 30, cannot be nullified, so this stays the same. Just add an extra line that says inflicts all enemies with no switching for 3 timer counts upon activation. That's all I have to do. I think that would be perfectly fine. I'm fine with that. It is a very good ability, but you have to be strategic with how you use it, so I like that. Now the green card, Matchless Pride. Plus 20% to strike damage inflicted for 15 timer counts, and then changes own blast arts cards to strike arts cards. This was a pretty this green card was pretty far ahead of its time when it came out. I remember seeing this for the first time and I was very impressed by how good it was, because it was doing 2 things, which we never really saw that much of. This was giving him a strike buff, and it was changing cards in his hand. Previously, it was either one or the other most of the time. They don't really need to change this that much. Maybe just buff this to... They would either buff this to 30%, and that would be it, or they could buff this to 25, and then buff this to like 20 or 25. I don't think this needs to be changed that much either. I think you pretty much just leave this the way it is. And then his ultimate. Deals massive explode damage, that's already good, and then draws a special arts card next on hit. And then you get blast armor. That's something else to talk about too, right? This is the first Zenkai awakenable character that is going to have blast armor just innately on their strike card. That's a big deal. That's one of the reasons why I do think they're not really going to go super ham with him, because A, he's already very good, and then he also has blast armor, which is a big deal. How can they even change this ultimate move? I mean, you draw a special arts card next on hit. Maybe you draw 2? I don't know. That's probably a little bit too good. I don't honestly think you change this at all. I think you just leave it. Maybe recovers ki. Maybe you get like 20% extra damage. Okay, maybe you get like 20% extra damage. So deals massive explode damage. Draw a special arts card next on hit. Blast armor when charging forward, and then 20% damage upon activation. That's probably all they do. That would hit very hard, especially if they gave them an ability restores 20 ki. So you could do a whole combo. Then you pop this, and then you use that with this. That would do a lot of damage, but I feel like that's not really that much different than what this guy's doing. So, don't think it would be super broken. And then that's pretty much all this guy's, how I feel like they would change the abilities this guy has already. And I have 2 unique abilities that I just want to talk about quickly that I came up with that I think would benefit this guy a lot. The first one is, applies the following effects to self when this character enters the battlefield per special move arts card in your hand. So per blue card in your hand. Reduces damage received by 20% for 10 timer counts, and then 20% to damage inflicted for 15 timer counts. So that isn't, I don't think they've ever done that before, like an ability that buffs you depending on how much of a certain type of card you have in your hand. I think that would actually be a pretty interesting mechanic. Obviously very tailored around you running the Cooler with this Frieza, which is exactly what I was talking about earlier. And if you take a look at the Lineage of Evil tag, this tag actually specializes in generating blue cards, because this guy holds a blue card. This Frieza gets a blue card from his main ability. This Frieza gets a blue card from his main ability when he's transformed. And this Frieza gets a blue card from his main ability. So There are so many ways to get blue cards with this team, and you can come up with very, I guess, interesting ways to get that unique to proc with this guy. So if you have 2 blue cards in your hand when you bring this guy into the battlefield, he'll be getting 40% cover for 10 timer counts, and then 40% damage inflicted for 15 timer counts. On top of this stuff, that's going to be a lot of damage and a lot of tanking as well. So I think that's a very good unique ability they could do. And then on the other hand, it could also be terrible because let's say you switch into this cooler with no blue cards, like he's going to get that unique is going to be doing nothing. So I think it's going to force the player to play strategically. I don't know if the numbers are tuned how they should be because I obviously haven't tested it, but I feel like that's an interesting concept they could introduce with this cooler. And then the second unique ability is applies the following effects to self when 2 allied tag Lineage of Evil are defeated. Increase Arts card draw speed level by 1, plus 50% of damage inflicted, and then plus 35% to own key recovery. And basically what that's doing is because if this guy's the last man standing, basically, you're not going to have this unique up anymore. Because this only activates if the following effects occur if a tag Lineage of Evil other than this character is a battle member. If they're both defeated and this guy's last man standing, this is not going to activate. So you're going to have none of these buffs currently active. So it's kind of like a last man standing ability, but it's really just filling in for this. The only thing you're missing from here is you're not getting this -5 to own strike or blast arts cost, but you're getting an extra card draw speed level and key recovery. So that's pretty much how I think this cooler will be. If I was in charge of designing the units, that's what I would do. Because it makes, even if this guy's last man standing, it makes this, like, he would be doing like almost no damage if he was last man standing because he doesn't get this unique anymore. So that sort of mitigates that. And then also, the only other last man standing unit on this team is the other purple cooler. So I guess cooler can sort of be seen as like the last man standing specialist unit, I guess. But that's what I'm thinking for this guy. Let me know what you guys think. I guess this guy's going to be more focused around being on Lineage, obviously, more so than movies, even though he is technically on the movies team. I don't think they want to push that tag too heavily right now. So, hope you guys enjoyed this one. I am very excited for Blue Cooler ZENKAI. Let me know down below what you are looking forward to in terms of him ZENKAIing. Are you guys able to ZENKAI him? I know, again, a lot of people probably don't have him at 7 stars. Are you going to summon to get him to higher levels than ZENKAI 1? Let me know. That being said, I'll see you all in the next one.